Thanks to Events DC, we're able to take you behind the scenes on food, culture, and community right here in DC. They're helping make this podcast possible and helping shape the future of our city at the same time. Check out eventsdc.com to see what they're cooking up. Order up another episode of In the Weeds podcast with Chef Spike Mendelsohn. Don't forget the side of beignets because today's guest's career has been dusted with as much sweet success as a plate of fresh beignets. From the bayous of Louisiana to the front lines of the community service, he's been stirring the pot and spicing things up wherever he goes. So grab your favorite po' boy and café au lait and laissez le bon temps rouler, mon ami, as we welcome Chef David Guas.
Hey, what's up?
And the crowd goes wild. Awesome. What's up, man? How's it going?
Good, man. How you?
Good. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's been a long time coming here.
Yeah.
Trying to work this.
Yeah.
I see you wore your best outfit.
That's it, baby.
No embroidered chef coat for you.
No, I got them.
You just go with the dishwasher.
Semi-retired, yeah.
By the way, these are the most famous chef coats ever, I think. Like this is what tells a true chef. I mean, of course, right? We spend so much time. We spend so much time like designing our chef coats and aprons and. You just
for events.
You just look sexy just like that.
Thank
just
you,
the way
brother.
you are, my friend.
Yeah. If you don't know me, you don't need to know me.
Yeah. You wash dishes this morning at all?
Hell yeah.
Every day. Every day. But listen, it's great to have you. I mean, obviously, we're good friends. We've known each other for a long time. You're better friends with my sister. Just a little dig right off
Harvey.
the bat. Yeah, and Harvey and my
Mom.
mother.
Yeah, of course.
And and most of my other friends too. I think you're very friends with them. No. But listen, great to have you on. People know you as, for what your restaurants in DC are. But the interesting thing about you is you have such a unique background and we kind of want to hear all about it, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So, I'd like to kind of start from the beginning. So how'd you get into this crazy, this world of cooking, my friend?
Well, being from Louisiana, food's always kind of part of something in your life, whether it's, direct with the family or, you're surrounded by it. I mean, every event, every festival that kind of marks, a season in Louisiana and New Orleans was always centered around food.
Were you in New Orleans proper?
Born and raised, yeah.
Oh, born and raised.
The easternmost part of Orleans Parish.
Yeah.
They would call it the East, baby.
Are you supposed to have a heavier accent being from New Orleans?
They say I'm supposed to, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Did
it's
you
not
lose
that I've
it a
been
little
gone.
bit?
No. One beer in, and I'm usually back
one
at
you
it.
get it right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got any beer?
Yeah.
Let me think.
No, but we have some delicious iced tea if you want. Refreshments.
I've
We
heard
got some
about that
water.
iced tea.
You brought some delicious goods. We're going to get to those
iced tea,
later
though.
on. Yeah, it's just iced tea.
It's just
iced
iced
tea.
tea. Yeah, so it was, I think, we have a path, in life and whatnot. So I played around with post high school education for a couple years, and then came back to New Orleans. And
what do you mean? So wait,
I went to college for a couple years.
A little closer for we just want to make sure you get your beautiful self in the frame there. Yeah. So you're in New Orleans. You're a kid. Your parents are from there.
Yep.
You're growing up.
Well, my father's from Cuba.
Oh, from Cuba.
Yeah, Guas
okay.
is Cuban.
So Cuban background.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of Cubans in New Orleans, believe it or not. But yeah, grew up in New Orleans East. My dad was a veterinarian, 30 years private practice, and mom was a school teacher. And
were they into food?
No. Mom cooked 6 days a week, put food on the table every night for dinner. I mean, Dad was.
But you do have home cooked meals. I mean,
100%.
That's more than some.
We'd go out to dinner on Friday nights.
Yeah.
Saturday, Friday nights, kind of spend a little and get out of the house. But no, I mean, food was always a big deal. Dad was the outdoor cook.
Yeah.
Firing up the grill and all of that good stuff, and mom kind of dabbled inside and. Put meals on the table. So there's not really anything to stand out. I credit her for a lot of things, but she doesn't accept it.
She doesn't accept it.
Now that I'm a professional, and she's like, oh my God, really? Like, I just remember like liver and onions was a thing, but she would cook them on Mondays for herself because it stunk up the whole house. We hated it.
You don't love liver and onions?
I love liver and onions now.
Oh, yeah.
When I was 7,
then you're like, no way.
Dude, are you kidding me? I was like, if that smells the house up like that, we got problems.
Do you do bacon fat with your liver and onions, or you do any type of pulled pork or?
I had liver and onions last night for family meal at Neutral Ground Bar and Kitchen in McLean. Yeah. My boys go and pick up from Plaza Latina a big old bag of liver, and they put it on the plancha and caramelize some onions, and it's unbelievable.
I love
some
it.
tortillas and whatever else,
Yeah. There's a place in New York that we go to, the Sturgeon King. Have you been there? It's like a Jewish deli bagel place. They do chicken livers.
Nice.
And it's basically caramelized onions to the max. And then schmaltz. They use chicken fat over there.
Nice.
And then they fold in like the they chop up the livers, and then you puree the whole thing. It's just kind of more of a spread.
Yeah. Love it.
But okay, so like chicken and chicken.
Yeah.
liver.
So I mean, Mom was just driving the train. She kept food on the table and all that good stuff. But I mean, like in New Orleans, even if you're not in food, it takes leaving the city to realize where you were just raised.
Yeah.
So when I left for school, I went to, was living in Colorado for a couple years. And then after that, sort of the funding dried out of my education, I had to come back to New Orleans and kind of figure stuff out. And Mom and Dad basically cut me off financially. They're like, dude, you just spent 2 years of our money.
Is high school?
No, college. College. Yeah. So after high school.
You're one of our chefs that graduated high school.
Yes.
Yes. Amazing.
Hell yeah. Couple years in college, and then came back to New Orleans, and then was trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then went to them after I thought I figured it out. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to culinary school. And
okay,
like,
but wait,
whoa,
don't rush there. Like, how did that even?
It was literally, I got back from school and I didn't know what to do.
Were you cooking at college or something? No, not at all.
I was working at a China palace.
Okay,
and so this was my uniform.
Look at that.
And so at 18, here I am, full circle.
Still doing the same thing
that's it,
at China Palace.
Yeah. And so I think after, maybe a month or so of washing dishes, the owner had come to me and taught me how to make rice, because that was a big deal, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
The rice thing in a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
So, wash 5 times till it's clear, whatever, da. So made the rice.
Did that blow your mind? Like at that age,
initially,
you're like, wash 5 times? Like,
I'm like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
Flushing the starch out, baby. So, and then I
still
think
get a kick of that at the sink, to be honest with you, flushing that starch out.
Flush it out. And so I think one day the highlight of my sort of employment there was when I guess the delivery driver had either called out or didn't show up. The owner gave me the keys to his car to make a delivery. I'm like, dude, you are insane, but okay, I'll do it. So yeah, did that in college. Worked in a wood shop also, making furniture.
Was that your first restaurant experience?
That was my first restaurant experience.
Wow.
Yes,
Okay.
very first. So at about 18.
Nice.
19, yeah. Came back to New Orleans. Didn't know what I was going to do. Decided to go to culinary school. Well, I'm skipping a important step. So I called my grandmother, my dad's mom, and I said, this is what I'm thinking about. Growing up, she always told me that we were kin to Justin Wilson.
Ooh.
And I was like, okay, so now I'm going to call her out, right?
Yeah.
So fast forward, I watched every show of his on PBS.
Yeah.
Channel 12, Saturday mornings, blah, blah, blah.
What'd you love
Red
about
suspenders.
his show? Yeah.
The endearment. I mean, how it wasn't about the food at all.
Yeah.
He brought you into the stories.
Yeah.
And just the way he carried himself, man, I was like, this guy's got something pretty special.
Yeah.
And of course, the fallback was, you could always go back to something and he just knew food in and out. So it was so casual the way he presented it. It wasn't like these cooking classes where you got to
totally.
not
he
structured.
made it seem like anybody could do it.
Yeah, and this is a show in the 80s, the early 80s, mid 80s, and so he'd always have a place setting after he finished cooking whatever, and it was like the big dining room table, and he'd have a full place setting with a glass of wine, and he'd sit down by himself and eat the meal. It was
you
just
should bring
hysterical.
that show back, by the way.
Dude,
imagine if you could just do that now.
So his tag was "I guarantee."
I guarantee.
He had a blue denim shirt with a red little neckerchief, little tie, but old school tie, like a stringy one. And then he had the big, thick red suspenders. So I called my grandmother and I was like, listen, if you have a direct line to Justin Wilson, I'd love to ask him if he thinks this is a good move. Meaning, should I go to culinary school or should I just go get a job in a kitchen and start working?
Yeah.
That was where I was kind of like figuring out.
Those are the two things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
there's a big debate about that, by the way, in the world.
There always has been.
Yeah.
20, 30 years later. Yeah. I mean, it's, $40,000 a year, or do you just get in there and start doing it?
Get in there and start earning.
Grind it. Anyway, so I decided, actually I was working in a shopping center near my house where I grew up, and I was working at a place called Philly's. So I lied. I was working at Philly's Cheesesteak. Oh, no, I didn't lie. The Chinese restaurant was first, and this was my second job. So once I got back into New Orleans, I got a job in the mall, and it was called Philly's.
Yeah.
And I was on the flat top, dude, with the spatulas and the putty knives. And pre-Benihana, all that. Exactly. So basically, I just got hired as an employee, and I ratted the manager out to the owner because he was his first cousin. He was stealing. And I was not even 2 weeks in to just being a employee.
Oh, you went for the jugular right off the bat.
Yeah, I was like, dude, and so because it was a family thing, they had multiple locations. And so I just kind of, I didn't send an email, I can tell you that, because it was pre-email. Whatever I did, I was like, we met or something. I told him what was going on, and then that guy got transferred. I became manager 2 months in.
2 months in.
Yeah. So now I'm managing this little food court, Philly's place.
In a mall.
But in a mall.
Yeah.
One of the best malls in New Orleans, I will say this, because it was like, I think one of two that had a full ice skating rink.
Yeah.
So that's pretty.
But isn't it a nice little like art to the flat top? Right?
Yes.
With like your little tools
man.
And just doing it.
It's best.
Yeah.
So that's where I fell in love with that feeling.
Yeah.
So I had a guy, after making him, steak and cheese, onions, peppers, mushrooms, fully loaded, whatever, add some hot peppers in there, provolone, extra cheese, whatever, full size, whatever that was at the time, 12-inch, I don't
delicious.
know. Monster. They even flew that bread in from Philly. Yeah. So I made it for him. He sat down in the mall, in the food court, ate the whole thing. Come back up, ordered another one for his ride back to Philadelphia. I was like, you're driving from New Orleans to Philadelphia?
The irony.
He's like, I'm from Philly, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand this, but whatever. And he was like, that was banging.
Yeah.
I was like, so the instant gratification is what I fell in love with, right? I can do something with my hands and make someone happy, and that's
what did it.
That was the beginning of
it.
that. I want more of that.
Yeah.
So that's when I called Grandma. Well, actually, I called my parents first. They're like, we told you, we're done.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, next door. So called Granny Lily, and she got me the phone call with Justin. But then fast forward, I called my other grandmother, and she funded the schooling.
Just if you see it.
Nice. Oh, I feel it.
First,
here, hit me. Wait, I see it.
First to knock it out of the win wins. Okay.
What do we win? A muffalata?
Yes. You just got to press that. If you see it, you just swipe it.
Nice.
We swipe flies
Look
on
at
this.
that thing. So yeah, it was the instant gratification thing. I fell in love with. Called my nan, who lived uptown, right on St. Charles Avenue, and I said, "Nan, this is the deal, man. Mom and Dad cut me off. I've done a lot of research. I found the school. This is how much it's going to cost. Blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
So I was able to stay in New Orleans. I went to New Orleans Culinary School, and then got out and landed my first job at the Windsor Court Hotel.
Yeah. Well, wait, did she connect you with
Justin? I had a phone call with him.
Oh, you did? Yeah. And so how did that go?
It was interesting because this is an idol of mine. So I was semi talk about flies. I mean, my jaw was down and I was talking, probably drooling, and I was just like, wow. And I just asked some questions about, what he thought about my direction, and he, of course, a guy that didn't go to culinary school, but, also was in his late 70s at the time. He just gave me just good advice about, which was follow your heart and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's like, but I will say that there's something to be said for foundation. Learning mother sauces, figuring out that part, technique, and then you find your style after that or whatever.
Totally.
So, and then you can continue to educate. So you don't have to go to a 4-year or a 2-year full on and get a degree necessarily, but you can. And so he put me in touch with his friend that owned the culinary school. He's like, you got to go see Frank Sclafani. And I was like, all right. New Orleans is full of Italians. I mean, I swear, we're it's 80% Italian.
Yeah.
A lot of Sicilians. And so, that was it. So went to culinary school, finished.
2-year program?
2-year program.
Okay.
No, 1 year. 1 year program.
Oh, it's a 1 year
It was
program.
fast. It wasn't because you weren't really necessarily getting it wasn't a degree, associate's degree or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was a certification, if you will.
They're still around. The culinary school still around?
They are. In fact, God, they called me up one day after some big award of mine, they found me.
Yeah.
And they were like, you come home? How often are you back in New Orleans? Do you mind stopping by the school next time you're in town? All that stuff. So yeah, I did all that.
Yeah. Nice.
You got to remember where you come from,
100%.
And so got to get back. So yeah, that was it. Went to cooking school, and then when I got out, I applied at the Windsor Court Hotel, which at the time in 1996, 97, it was #1 hotel in the United States.
Yeah.
AAA, 5-star, mobile star, every rating, top notch. Local ratings was 5 beans because we do the beans in New Orleans, and that was it.
Oh,
so I knew
the bean rating.
Yeah, it's a bean. Yeah, so you get 4 beans, 5 beans.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For all restaurants?
Yeah,
That's how
the local rating is the beans.
Rating is the beans.
100%.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And
get beanified.
Rightfully so. We're a bean community for sure.
But wait, I just want to know a little bit more. So culinary school, hectic or like,
no,
or like,
it was one of those things that I kind of tried to stay grounded because like every day that we started talking about X, I thought I knew more than everybody else. So I was just like, just chill and just take the information and learn from it and ask questions.
Is that because you had like prior restaurant experience?
Just because I was a punk kid that thought I knew everything.
Yeah, that's same, same.
Dual pound.
By the way, feel free. These aren't just for me.
Okay. Yeah. What you got? Talk to me.
We got mint, lemon, raspberry.
I'm going with the
that's our lemon.
This is the signature.
Nice and subtle.
I like the black top.
We try to keep it classy.
Be it different.
Class the tea up a little bit.
I love it. So yeah, that was it. So Windsor Court, again, at the time, I knew that if I found a hotel, I would continue my education because I still needed I still needed to continue to learn more. So I applied in the kitchen because all my training was it was savory.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have anything open at the time. So I thought this was like done deal. I kind of went in there, applied, and I was like, oh, so you don't have anything in the kitchen right now? Like, I'll take day, like night, whatever,
Nothing.
blah, blah, blah. Nothing. So a month went by, maybe 2 weeks. I'll make it up, whatever. A couple weeks, a long time, especially when you're out of work.
Yeah.
So I'm living in the French Quarter, by the way, right now, next to Portugal at 1320 Dauphine, which is a famous restaurant, Portugal, corner of Dauphine and Esplanade. And 2 months prior to us moving in, my girlfriend and I, there was somebody shot and killed right on our stoop. But that's not the point of the story.
Yeah,
the point of the story.
That's fine.
It sounded like a good idea.
We can have murder on this podcast. We can have murder on this podcast.
It's New Orleans, baby. It's part of our culture. So
it's the culinary world, my friend.
So I'm living in the Quarter, and so I'm like, again, targeting the Windsor Court because it's just on the outskirts of the French Quarter, so very convenient for me. But a time went by, and I didn't get a phone call back, so I was like, damn. So my dad called me. He goes, one of his veterinarian fill-in, somebody does like covers for him, like when he's out or whatever, does fill-in stuff.
Like a substitute.
Yeah. Will come in and run the clinic and see his patients and whatever. Said, Dr. So-and-so is coming over to the house tonight with her husband, Charles. Charles is a captain at the Windsor Court Hotel.
Ooh.
And he goes, why don't you swing by the house tonight, anytime after 6:30 and talk to him about you applying.
Tell people what captains are.
Captains, he was part of the banquet private events sort of team, and he's a server, but he was a lead. So the captain was number one, right? So you have a team behind you. You have back waiters, you have bussers, you have blah 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 blah. So
he's the guy. He's the head honcho. He's the head honcho.
Yeah, he's
the one dressed nicely.
And at the Windsor Court, that's a big deal.
No, it's a big deal.
So I went over there, like Dad suggested, and met them.
Yeah.
And I knew them. I had already met them, but I was there to talk business. So I was like, yeah, this is the deal, man. I said, I applied a couple weeks ago. I didn't hear back, and apparently they're not hiring. I called HR, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, he was like, what did he say? Something about like, do you have any issues with like doing desserts or pastry or something? And I was like, no, man, I want to work at the Windsor Court. Yeah. Like, get me in the door. I don't want to be a captain, but I want to be in the kitchen somewhere. So he's like, one of my good buddies is the assistant pastry chef. Her name's Lisa Liggett. And he's like, let me get back to work and ask around and see what the deal is. 3 days go by, get a call, and he schedules an interview. So I go in, meet Lisa, then essentially meet the executive.
Who's the executive chef? Some German guy?
No. Pastry chef. German masters.
Oh, was it German
Kurt
masters?
Ebert. Just listen to that. How cold. Kurt Ebert.
You do not want to,
Master pastry chef Kurt Ebert.
Don't mess up that souffle for Mark.
So he transferred from Vancouver 4 Seasons and landed the head pastry chef gig at the Windsor Court. And terrifying, man. Dude, my first interview, I was like, this is not going to work. This is not going to happen. So went through one interview with this guy.
What was terrifying about it? Like what?
Just specific questions that I knew nothing. Meringues, Italian, Swiss, French, blah blah blah.
Was it like what is a pâte à choux?
More or less, yeah.
And I'm like, I have no clue.
I'm gonna make a roux. That's what I can do. I said, but chef, and I said something like, show
that's pretty good answer.
Show me
I can
once.
make a roux.
Yeah,
hey, that's not bad.
I can cook.
Yeah.
Ish. So that didn't go well.
Yeah.
So ended interview. Jumped back onto my bicycle and dodged the drunkards in the Quarter and got back to my apartment. And I was like, damn, So another week went by or whatever it was. I'm making up the timeline because I have no clue, but it was a long time.
Yeah.
So I did what any New Orleanian would do is I called my dad again, and I said, just say duck. I said, dude, I need a job. And my dad's like, call your uncle, his brother, because my aunt is a Fine.
Yeah.
She's the family name is Fine, and the Fines own the Quarter Two Sisters in the French Quarter. Very famous restaurant, family, not quite as famous as the Brennans, but the Fines were, equally, in there with the food industry. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a job at this restaurant because I just need a job, Quarter Two Sisters. So I immediately go in, like the next day is an interview set up by my uncle through my aunt. And I go there, do the interview, fill out paperwork, size, uniform, all that stuff, do all the whatever, the onboarding. I get back to my apartment and there's a voicemail on my answering machine. Imagine that.
Guys, for those who don't know, answering machines are, those are things that, basically take recordings of phone calls for you, tell you who called.
And you could usually set a mode. Does it pick up on 2 rings or basically, 4 rings or 6? Anyway.
Yeah, and for those who don't know what a roux is, that's flour and butter melted together to thicken up things.
Yeah, so, baby, fat and flour.
Put in your stew.
That's right. Your stew. Nice one. New Brunswick. So that was it. So the German master pastry chef is on my answer machine saying, I'd like to have you come back in for a second interview. I'm like, wow. Jump on my bike. Go through the quarter, jump, blah, blah, blah. Second interview goes a lot better. They hire me.
Yeah.
Desperation, I guess. But I promised him. I looked right in the eye and I said, show me once the way you want it.
Yeah.
You'll never have to show me that technique or that way ever again.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to waste your talent, your time, whatever. I thought it was odd that he started asking me, like, where specifically I lived in the French Quarter.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And all these kind of, like, HR, current day, very inappropriate questions. But maybe that's what got me my job.
A few more.
He was just overly curious about my outside life of work.
Like where you get your hair cut.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah. What do I like to drink?
What bar of soap do you use when you shower?
No pastry relevance at all or work related, but whatever. Yeah. So I kind of worked that angle a little bit, and that was it. Got the job. Started a couple days later. Had to call my uncle and say, dude, I'm so sorry, but like, I'm not working at this freaking... That's the place that in the quarter the buses pull up and like 70 people get off, and then there's 2 more buses behind them. It's packed. Cooks are walking around with the thermostat, probing shit, and it's like a buffet style stuff, like death, career death. So thank God that's not on my resume. But anyway, love you, Minnie Fine.
That's where chefs go to die.
Love you and Minnie. So anyway, that's what we do. We pull strings. You call your family, say, I need it, whatever.
Network.
So
at any point, is your family trying to discourage you from this culinary world?
No.
Or they're just like, no?
Because at this point, they don't have a socio because they didn't fund it.
Yeah. So that's it.
Yeah. I mean, they have an opinion, but they don't. Yeah. So, no, they think I'm getting on the right track. I mean, you can see that they're kind of rooting for me. So I land the job at the Windsor Court. The first day, there was a banquet, and it was like 350 like lemon meringue tarts. Oh. And so, of course, a day before, they make the curd already. They do everything, because I'm just starting. And it's the day of. So basically, I'm in a 80-quart floor mixer that, you have the crank, and I have to make Italian meringue.
Italian meringue.
Yeah, I'm cooking sugar at 240. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not doing it.
Why is Italian meringue Italian, though? Tell the people, because they don't know. There's Swiss, French, and Italian meringues, right? What's the difference? What's the key differences? I always kind of forget.
Yeah. So French is cold, like straight up marry the two. Boom. Done deal. Like white egg whites in the mixer, just slowly add your granulated. Swiss is a blend, is a warming it. So like you can add your sugar to your whites and then heat that together
over a double boiler. Okay.
Then put it on your mixer and then whip it till it goes nuts. Then the next is the Italian, which is the most stable, which is what you want to use for like buttercreams, like weddings in the summertime, all that stuff. It's going to be your strongest. And that's your cooked sugar to a hard, like softball 240-ish, and then you would slowly drizzle that into the whipping.
So it's hot sugar into the whip. Hot sugar into the whip.
Yeah. So 3 different.
Those Italians.
That's it, baby. They know what they're doing. So that was it, man. I had to make 80 quarts of freaking meringue, and I didn't even know how to hold a piping bag.
Yeah.
It's a buffoon. Like I had like 5 thumbs or whatever.
And if it's your first time on a piping bag, it's like you're making a mess.
Not only
it's
a
like
piping bag, but you're stating 80 quarts of Italian meringue. I'm like, I don't even know how to hold one of the
spatulas or the scrapers.
Yes, the bowl scrapers. So of course, there's like Wa and Fong, shout out to Wa and Fong, 2 Vietnamese ladies in New Orleans that literally took me under their wing and showed me everything. So, and they were my buffer.
Shout out to Wa and Fong. There's always a Wa and Fong somewhere, right?
Wa and Fong. Wa in particular taught me some fun curse words in Vietnamese. And so yeah, all these fun
Come
stuff.
on, you?
No, it's just my ya. They would always say my ya. So she kind of was my buffer between like the frustrated German master pastry chef and the new guy. And like, she'd been there for like 16 years. So she had already seen like 3 pastry chefs, Well,
it's an interesting thing real quick you bring about a huge Vietnamese culture in New Orleans, right? I mean, I love Vietnam. I lived in Vietnam. I cooked Vietnamese food. I had Vietnamese restaurants, but that's the one thing that I didn't realize about New Orleans, which I don't know why I didn't. It made sense. I mean, the French colonized Vietnam back in the day. They left a lot of their influence on their food, and then New Orleans has got that French.
And what initially brought most over were the jobs, the shrimping and the water, the waterways, learning, having that be part of what you do in Vietnam, and then just kind of come to Louisiana and figure out how to shrimp the bayous. I mean, it was they were all.
So you just reminded me, like, funny. So my first, I don't, I'm a man of many different faces.
Sure.
Right. So one of my jobs back in the day, I scored a CBS show as a food correspondent.
Nice.
Right. I think I got like 30 episodes or something like that. I only filmed 6 before they got acquired. But my first episode as a food correspondent was in New Orleans. They sent me to go shrimping.
Nice.
Out in the boondocks, my friend.
You got to.
Like,
that's where the shrimping is.
Yeah, way out there. There was a hurricane.
You're probably in Chalmette, which is the lower 9th Ward.
Yeah. I mean, I don't quite remember.
St. Bernard Parish.
But you can find this. It's kind of crazy. It's like, it's me. I'm all disheveled. It's a hurricane's happening. I'm on a shrimp boat. We're talking about like how shrimping is drying up in the area. So anyway, it's funny little side story.
Totally.
But so Vietnamese. So Vietnamese lady.
Yeah. Wan Fong. So we knock out the meringue, we bag it, whatever, we pipe, Of course, he showed me a few and then walked away, and then I did a few, and he came back and it was like, no, and I did it.
Like, I thought if I showed you how to do it the first time.
You promised. And so that was it. That was day one. And after that, I just started rolling, after that. I mean, I had my notebook out, writing everything down. This is pre-cell phone, so there was no taking pictures of finished product or any of that crap.
No.
So this was memory, brain memory, photographic memory, and then a lot of documentation. And I drew.
Yeah.
So I drew my plates. So, fast forward, I know from now.
Are you artistic? Like, do you have a artistic background apart from culinary arts?
No. I mean, I took
just
art classes, but I didn't
like to see the plate.
100%. Yeah. I just kind of sketch a little something, and it's not always pretty, but it reminds me of what I want to do, and then I do the little sidebars and put like little this, little that on there, whatever, But it's just logging, you put it in your logbook and refer to it later. But
you still have a bunch of those little books?
I do.
You should do like a comic book of all those things, like put them all together. Yeah. Be kind of.
I got all my old school recipe books from when I first from the hotel, and then when I moved here to open DC Coast. Anyway, so yeah, that was it. So 2 important things at the Windsor Court happened to me.
Yes.
One, I didn't realize it at the time, but my now wife.
Yeah. Oh.
No, I'm implying that I had another one. My current wife of 25 years, Simone Rathley, who you know, she was the in-house marketing and PR person for the Windsor Court from the mid-'80s to 94, 95.
I didn't know it went back that deep.
Yeah. They launched after they built out the hotel in 84 after the World's Fair.
Yeah.
The 1984 World's Fair in New Orleans, and they had built it for condos or something, but then I don't know the exact story, but they flipped it. It ended up being a hotel.
Yeah.
But it was a Sherwood property, Orient Express, so really high end. Had a who was the George St. George and the Dragon, There was a massive statue in the front of the semicircle of the hotel. And they still are garnering awards. They're no longer, a big fish in a small pond.
Yes.
They are, we have the Lowe's is down there now. The Ritz-Carlton's down there now. So the W's down there now. But back then, this is where everyone stayed.
Yeah.
You know, the
Presidents.
Oprahs. Oh, you name it.
Yeah.
You come to New Orleans, it's the Windsor Court. There was no question. So, you know, I did a year and a half there, almost 2 years. But I didn't meet Simone there because she'd already left and moved to New York. But she was the in-house marketing person for almost 8 years there, unbeknownst to me.
Oh, so you guys didn't actually meet there. You were there.
No, yeah, we both born and raised in New Orleans,
wow.
but we have a little age gap.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I have no idea who this woman is yet.
Yeah.
But fast forward, right? So she moves to New York. I get the job at the Windsor Court. Jeff Tonks is the executive chef.
Yeah.
In the kitchen. So that was the guy that basically, to this day, he loves to say that he never hired me because he's the executive chef, even though I was hired in the pastry department, he has to approve all hires.
Yeah.
And we never had an interview. So I had 2 with the German masturbation, none with Jeff. And all of a sudden one day I pop up and I'm grabbing ice from the sweet service department. And he's like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
You know, and then he comes down because the pastry department was kind of down like a long ramp, kind of in the lower half of the section of the kitchen. And so, yeah, he
keep
met
the
me.
pastry people away from the savory kitchen.
Seriously, yeah.
Keep them away.
We need our own
with their recipes.
zone.
With their recipes.
Yeah, their formulas.
The formulas.
And their perfect towels and all their neatness. Yes, all that stuff. So, and that really played into, like, I think, you know, my OCD is just, you know, learning those type of techniques and the cleanliness and keeping your board clean and your section clean and your, so that kind of was all like part of me already. And I was like, oh, I like this, you know?
Yeah.
So, so worked with Jeff. It was weird, man. Like I did all 3 shifts, which is amazing as far as just getting a full experience for a hotel, right? So I went in and did the 10 p.m. shift, the overnight baking shift, where all your doughs are retarded in the cooler and you pull them out and they're like 300-pound doughs, you know, dropping off in the, you know, all that stuff. It takes you like 2 hours to like portion all that stuff out. So, because we did every bread in-house. We had a beautiful 4-deck German oven with like the steam and
so you were getting these baking skills from a young age, pastry skills.
Yeah, I'm barely 20. I'm not even legal drinking age at this point. Well, I shouldn't say it. Well, Louisiana was the last. Louisiana as a state was the last state in the U.S. to change the law from 18 to 21. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. So Jeff like took an interest in me. So I did the overnight thing, and then I did like midday, where I did le salon, like tea service, you know, high tea.
Le salon.
And when you do that at the Orient Express, it's like a big deal. So again, back to Wah, back to Fong. You know, we're doing the dipped strawberries. We're doing little baby meringue pipes. But now that I've got the 300 under my belt, I'm like, and, you know, we're doing little tea cakes. Most of the sandwiches came from the savory kitchen, like the cucumber and the cream cheese and smoked salmon and all the perfectly cut little white bread with no crust and blah, 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 blah. I mean, I was already floored by just the fact that people were using rulers to cut things. I'm like, what is going on, man?
So you're basically like
and all the machines we have now.
You're basically a line cook disguised as a pastry chef right now.
Yes, I've definitely got a cook mentality.
And Jeff is catching on.
Yes,
is he? He's got
100%. He's watching me from afar already.
Yeah.
So fast forward, then I'm dinner service. Plating. You know, working. You know, doing Tweel production and getting my station set up for dinner service, but I was the only plater or pastry cook for the grill room for dinner service. And Jeff would, you know, during lulls would come down and sit on the sacks of flour right near the station and just yap with me. Like, because, you know, he knew I was born and raised in New Orleans. And so, like, he had questions about, like, my favorite restaurants and where I grew up and just, you know, shooting the breeze, whatever. But I guess fast forward, as that continued, I didn't realize he was grooming me for something. Yeah. So he, one night...
different type of grooming than the German pastry chef.
Yes, very different grooming.
More preferred.
Yeah. Yes. For this guy, yes, 100%.
Oh, we got you blushing on the podcast. David Guas, it's getting hot in here.
So what happens then? See, now I'm all flustered. So Jeff says to his goons, which are like his 2 sous chefs. You know, like whatever. They have these private conversations. Like, I think, you know, let's talk to Guas about what we're doing. And they're like, got it.
The conspiracy in kitchens is the best, by the way.
And, you know, the executive chef of the hotel can't be like really seen going out and like drinking and party. I mean, he could. It's New Orleans. Who gives a crap? But I guess because of just how he wanted the information to be handled, so his executive sous and then like his lead like line cook for dinner service. We all went out like we typically do at the end of a Friday, Saturday night, and we went to a famous place. It's Lulu's famous surf bar right on Tchoupitoulas.
Okay.
A stone's throw from the hotel, perfect, like big industry place. And then we would go there.
The name sounds so awesome. Tchoupitoulas.
Tchoupitoulas is the best.
Sounds so great.
I had a local band in this region actually that formed during college. It's a friend of mine's son, and it was called the Chopped Up Tulips, which I thought was badass.
That's so good.
The Chopped Up Tulips. Anyway, Tchoupitoulas, we'll go to Lulu's, hanging out, shooting pool, drinking, having a couple brewskis. So fast forward, this guy named Linton Hopkins and this guy named Cliff Warden, who now is no longer with us, and that's a whole other story. But they started asking me weird hypothetical questions. I had just broken up with my girlfriend, by the way, in the French Quarter of like 2.5 years. So there was she woke up one day and says, I'm going to move to Chicago and live with my grandmother. I go, what? Okay, what did you just say?
Just like
Sorry,
that.
What? Come again?
Yeah.
What? Did something happen overnight?
Must have not been the evening before.
So weird. Yeah. So I was like, okay, and there's nothing. The lease is up in 2 weeks, and my name's on the lease, and
I'm out.
That's it. I was like, wow, okay. So I call a buddy of mine who moved out of his childhood home in Lakeview, and his mom was living in a smaller apartment, and they were showing the house. It was on the market. His childhood home, where I spent many a Friday, Saturday nights and Sunday mornings and whatever in his bedroom, which was a separate entrance from the street, which was awesome. So I called Miss Ann. I said, Miss Ann, I got nowhere to live. I got nowhere to stay. I said, but I just took this job to move to Washington, but we're not leaving for like 3 months. She's like, stay at the house. Go stay in Michael's room. It was the weirdest thing in the world, dude, to be like in your best friend's like childhood bed. Yeah. It was weird.
So wait, you secured a job in D.C. at this point?
Linton and Cliff, they asked me these weird questions. Hypothetically, if something were to be offered to me out of state, that could be like a great launch career thing that, I'll be way in over my head, but be part of something really cool and special. Yeah. Would I be open to that? I'm like, dude, that's a weird question, but yes.
Yeah.
So that was
Would you be open to that?
So that was it. I mean, that was Jeff's job offer.
Yeah.
Through his goons.
Yeah.
And so fast forward, they go back, they tell him yes, and of course, now we can talk about it. But we can't because we're still at the Windsor Court.
Yeah.
So now we can talk about it when we go out at night, all of us.
Yeah.
And then we had a couple meetings, about what...
Because this is not affiliated with Windsor Court stuff. This is a whole different
this
thing.
is Jeff giving his notice of the hotel and leaving to go to D.C.
Oh, this is building his team.
Yes.
Oh,
he's building
this
opening
so
team
good.
of D.C. Coast. So I sign on. Linton Hopkins, fast forward, who's got like 40 restaurants in Atlanta now, he signs on, and then Cliff signs on. And Cliff, by the way, had been part of Jeff's opening team when Jeff was in Coronado Bay in San Diego. He opened the Lowe's. Yeah. So Jeff was the opening chef of the Lowe's in Coronado Bay. Cliff, I guess, got a job there with him, became sous chef, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So he brought Cliff with him to New Orleans. So Cliff had already done this.
Yeah.
So
what was Jeff's background?
So Jeff, born and raised in Texas, only child. He, God, his dad, Phil, was so great.
And his style of cuisine.
So he went to CIA.
Oh, he did? Okay.
In the 80s,
okay.
Yeah. He went to the CIA like in, I want to say, late 80s.
So you're working for like one of the best. Yeah.
I mean, he was at the top of his career. I mean, these hotels don't, they got budgets. They got big dollars, and all he had to do was hit his numbers, and he was gold. He got bonused. He got this. He got that. So it's a good gig. But what I didn't mention is Jeff in the 80s was also the opening chef at the River Club in D.C. So he had already been to D.C., met a guy named Gus DeMillo when they were working together at what did I say? It was on the waterfront. It was K Street.
The riverfront. River Grill or whatever.
What was it called?
I could look it up.
Yeah, no, it was it was like when you talk about it, it had like the River Club. River Club was K Street underneath the Whitehurst, which is the Whitehurst now. I don't know what it was 30 years ago. And it was like a great restaurant. And Gus was kind of the front guy, the manager, and Jeff was the chef. Well, I don't know how long Jeff was. It had like a music venue too. It was like people still to this day talk about the River Club. Yeah. They talk about Bayou, which was down there in the same area, and the River Club. And so they met there, and Jeff said, I'm going to go take this job in whatever and, go do my thing. And you and I are going to open a restaurant together. Like it was like a thing.
Yeah.
Like 10 years, ahead of time or whatever. So he's like, good, go make some money.
Yeah.
And I'll be in DC doing my thing. And all the while Gus had all the connections in DC because his career was here. And Jeff did his thing, went to Lowe's, did the Windsor Court. Now it's time to move back to DC and launch. So in the meantime, whether it's 10 years, 12 years, I don't know, Gus had met another guy, David Weisenberg.
Ooh.
So Jeff didn't know David. And so he's like, listen, this guy's got a finance background. He also went to CIA, but ended up being one of those that graduated and didn't put a knife in his hand ever again. And he did the hotel business program. Yeah. So hospitality,
the smarter
F&B,
the smarter of the students at the culinary school.
Yeah. And so you had this perfect team. You had the front guy who was all about service, and all about hospitality. You had Jeff, who's so creative culinarily and traveled all over the world and talk about a photographer. I mean, he could eat a dish, take 2 bites, travel, whatever, and 2 weeks later, go shop for the ingredients and nail it. Like he just had this thing.
Yeah.
May not nail the presentation right away or whatever, but like he just...
The flavor though.
Oh my God. So, and so that was it. So they had this team, and of course, I'm sure Jeff flew back to DC and met David before they started this, big company. So then they start telling us, look, I've got 3 partners, our 2 partners are in DC already. They're getting everything ready for us. And I'm going to give notice in November.
Yeah.
You guys are going to stay at the Windsor Court and keep your mouth shut, because we're not ready for you yet.
Yeah.
I'm moving to DC. Because, pre-construction, doing what he's got to do, get his apartment, get settled in long before we show up.
Yeah.
So I think I gave notice in January, and then maybe early February. So my last day at the Windsor Court Hotel was February 15th, 1998.
1998.
Yeah. Not my last day. My last day was Valentine's Day, the 14th. Yeah. The 15th, I was already packed and ready to drive to DC. So my dad and I jumped in my Ford, was a Ranger.
Of course.
Ranger. I had my Ford Ranger, which I bought with cash.
Yeah. Any shotguns in the back, or
no, not for this trip. We left them at home. So Cliff follows us with his fiance at the time, Blanche, and his daughter Brittany, and we.
And you had been to DC yet at all?
I went once in December when Jeff had moved there in November. Whatever. He's like, come on down, the 3 of y'all. In December. He also brought the head, the master, he wasn't a master, the sommelier from the Windsor Court, because the idea was he's trying to get Dwayne to come down with us too. Dwayne ended up not taking the position because he had it made. He was from New Orleans. He was making freaking crazy money at the Windsor Court. Dude, their wine cellar was stupid. Anyway, so we move there and we do it. We go there, we meet everybody, we meet the partners, go out to dinner, we go to Goldoni.
Goldoni, I don't know what that
Fabrizio,
was.
oh my God, it was the, Dude, talk about his crazy wife, Ingrid. I think they're in Naples now.
Oh, yeah?
They have a restaurant in Naples. Boy, she was...
Florida?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. They're in Naples doing their thing. Somebody told me recently that they're still doing like that. Like,
well, tell me, in 1998 you left, so early 2000 seems like a pretty pivotal moment for the DC food scene.
Yep.
Okay. Not only your crew that you're talking about, but who else? Who are some of the other players that were
at that time when we moved here? So you had Georgia Brown's.
Yeah.
You had Galileo. Roberto's place. And he only had one.
Wow,
he was working there. So he had Todd Gray as his executive chef. Todd Gray was running the kitchen at Galileo when I moved here. I met people like Ann Amernack, who was the world famous pastry chef was the opening pastry chef at Red Sage with Mark Miller.
Dude,
Mark Miller, that was like, I went in there for the first time it was a 14th and G, I think. And it was like with the paper mache and all it was just like cool. I was like, God, I've never seen a restaurant design like this. It was like ahead of its time.
Well, it's so refreshing to hear you say these names that make up DC's food culture, because we're 2025 now. There's big name chefs came from New York, from all over the world to shine light on DC, and all of a sudden we had this amazing food scene. But there was these trailblazers way before
100%.
that you may not have known them completely. The Boobins of the world,
and all of them.
Yeah.
So, and these are the guys that I met when I first moved here, because I was Jeff's boy. I went everywhere with Jeff. So if we did anything social here, it was these were his people.
Yeah.
So I was with the old guard from day one.
That's what I love about it. It's you were with the old guard.
Yeah, I'm 22 and I'm hanging out with, 40-year-old chefs and 38-year-old chefs that are 15, 20 years older than I am that are, at the peak of their careers. And I was just quiet. I just kind of was in their presence, just listening to them and just gaining as much as I could.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was unbelievable. You had Francesco and Enrique. You had Fabrizio. You had, like I said, Roberto and
these names. I love these names.
Kaz, obviously. Kaz at the time was the head chef at Sushiko.
Yeah.
Simone and I used to go sit at Sushiko with Alan as the GM, and Kaz was the head chef. And I'd sit at the sushi bar before he had his restaurant. So yes, the Boobins, unbelievable. So Georgia Brown's, and this is before Olive's opened, and it was before, what was our other big competitor? Equinox. I mean, so Todd opened up right after we did.
Yeah.
Opened up Equinox in like 99. We opened successfully in June of 98, DC Coast. There was like a 3-month waiting list to get in on a Friday. Like people were like,
don't you miss those days?
Like doing like 100 bills to the maitre d', like get me in, dude. Like we had that beautiful mezzanine level, and it was an old bank, and then just before they took it over, it was McDonald's. But prior to that, it was like this old bank, so it was like an old vault in there. It was just so cool. They did a great job designing it, and it was the talk of the town. DC Coast was like the highly anticipated opening. Yeah, because there was all these guys from like all over the New Orleans.
And so is that the restaurant you spend most of your time at before you went off on your own? Like what was the pivot like?
Yeah, well, we kept opening restaurants with that group. So then fast forward 98 June, DC Coast. Boom.
So you're still working with the same group?
Yep.
Same restaurant?
Yeah. So I'm the head pastry chef of this restaurant launching.
Yeah.
Not a clue of what I'm doing, to the point where Jeff's like, dude, you're going to do the same desserts with that were at the Windsor Court that you've been producing for the last 6 months. Exactly. It's like, we'll make them smaller, we'll make them whatever. But like, I was freaking out. I had bought like $1 million worth of cookbooks. I am just hungry. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, this is before you can just Google a recipe.
Totally.
It's like, you got to go to the books, man. And so, we figured it out. And so then August of 2000.
Isn't that an exciting feeling, though?
It is.
Right? You're in the weeds. You're like completing the shits. You don't know what you do, but you have like these books to read. You have like...
Dude, we were doing 80 hours a week, to the point where I started coughing up blood one day, and Linton comes to me, and he walked past the pastry section to go in dry storage, and I did something, and of course, he's like,
the blood on the white.
He's like, you're done.
Oh, no. Yeah.
He's like, you're done. He's like, I'm calling a cab. Yeah. He's like, you're going to GW. He's like, you got to go. We can't do this. Yeah. And so I was like, okay. So, because I had a bark, I was very bronchial. So I go there. I'm diagnosed with walking pneumonia.
Yeah.
And
just a little side of.
They give me something. I go home and I'm back at the restaurant at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
next
Just
morning.
a little side of walking pneumonia. 8-hour week.
Because of my, I guess, versatility. It was early on. The two sous chefs learned that Chef David Guas at the time, whatever you want to call me, could not only be the opening, because he was the pastry chef, right?
Yeah.
I'm an early riser. I'm the egg cracker, right? So I'm the guy that's going to open the restaurant every day. So they start kind of slowly dialing back from everybody being all hands on deck every morning, every day, 16, 17 hours. So they start coming in later. So now I'm checking in orders.
Yeah.
So then I'm getting, this pre-text, but like I get notes, when I come in the morning, and it's like, hey, do you mind like breaking down the salmon when you get in? Like, what?
You're like, what's going on?
So we were getting 60, 70 pound halibut, dude. DC Coast was pumping out seafood.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we get 40, 50 pounds of jumbo lump. You see what I'm saying? Like a day. Like crazy numbers. Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of crap. Yeah. And so I'm doing all this. I'm checking things in. And then it became like, well, you can just create a pasta special for lunch, right? I'm like, dude,
incrementally.
So I was definitely more than a pastry chef, right? So... But meanwhile, I'm doing all pastry production because I don't have an assistant production person. I've just got an AM line cook, a lunch line cook, and then a dinner line cook.
Yeah.
But I had to work dinner service too. So when I was done with production, I'd go up and I worked in between.
That's the way it used to be, kids.
Dude,
just for those that don't know out there, it's like you didn't have a position or just a title on the line. You were everything.
Between garde manger and pastry. Yeah. So pastry plater and a garde manger person, but I was the guy that when you're doing 360 covers on Saturday.
You're the turn-on.
Dude.
Yeah. The turn-on, which means you basically work
Jeff
any
would
station.
Not allow us to open oysters in advance. Yeah. Not even like a half hour before service. So we're popping
fresh
Malapec oysters. Oh, dude, it's nuts, yeah.
But But don't you miss those days a little bit, my man? Like
they were part of it. That's why I am what I am.
It's it just feels
work
like
ethic. Everything is just you can't even.
You wouldn't call like as much as you wanted to call out. If you were sick, you would never. You would never dare
for about a split second.
Yeah, you would never dare call out. Like you'd rather like if you were sick. I remember working on Le Cirque, and my buddy and I had partied the night before. Michael Coletti, you know Michael Coletti,
of course.
And he was on meat station. I was on fish station, and we went out so hard the night before that we were both completely sick to our stomachs and basically throwing up.
Yeah,
and we were picking up each other's stations while the other one was in the toilet throwing up, and then we'd clean up, wash our hands, go back to service. I know it sounds gross, guys, but yes, you might have got a bronzini from me from Le Cirque while I was sick. Okay, but I washed my hands, right? But we would just cover each other's stations because we would dare not tell Pierre Chadelain, our chef, that we were sick and partying the night before. We'd lose our jobs.
That's not an option.
You would lose our jobs.
There was not even you could even let your head go there. It was just like it wasn't the thing.
Yeah,
I mean, I called the old boys club. It was we were a gang. You know, this was a brotherhood that we had each other's back. We wouldn't call out. We covered shifts. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I worked second saute on a Saturday night.
Oh yeah,
picking up Jeff's Chinese style smoked lobsters.
Yeah,
his signature dish with the fried spinach.
Yeah.
Oh my God, deglazing with that paste.
Fried spinach.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about that dish.
Yeah. So this was his signature dish at DC Coast when we launched in '98. So we salt water poached the whole Maine lobster. We took the lobsters, we skewer them so the tails were straight. We poach them 5 minutes on the nose, pull them out, shock them in ice water. Break them down. We cut the whole body down center. We split them open, very specific way that he had the shells and the segments cut. And then we build them back into a pie tin, including the top head after we ripped the stuff out. So it's just kind of a shell. In fact, the shell we fried to kind of glisten it and make it
a little red. Yeah.
So then we rebuilt these like deep pie tins of mise en place for service, right? So we put all the lobsters that lived, that were part of the same lobster in a piece together for a quick order pickup. Then we made this paste with sriracha, ginger, and garlic in Roboku, tons of garlic, tons of fresh ginger, and literally just squirted sriracha into it to make this paste. And then, so to pick it up, to order, you had a steel pan, blazing hot. You add the paste, a little bit of oil, and then you immediately flip the lobster tin right over, and you keep the lid on it so it's smoky and steams itself a little bit. And then right as you kind of turn it to get a little color on each piece of meat, you're ready for plating. You deglaze it with...
but you take the tin off when it hits the pan, right?
Yeah.
Boom.
You take the tin... Well, you cover it for a couple seconds. Remove it as it starts to cook. Yeah. And then... Because you want a little color, and you can't really do that when you're steaming. You know that.
Of course. But they don't know that.
They may not know that. That's not...
You may not know. Yeah,
exactly. Smart audience.
It's true.
So then deglaze with a little soy.
Yeah.
And then, smoked it out, and you had to pull the pan like right away. Jeff was right next to you working fucking Expo. And he would just be like, because it gets too salty.
Yeah.
If you deglaze the pan, you just
too much soy. Yeah.
So it was a very specific timing, and you better be ready to plate it, which means your fried spinach from the fry station should have already come down to you.
But that's that spinach.
That's the bed. That's the bed of the plate. So we had this beautiful oval plate, fried spinach down, and then we built the lobster.
Yeah.
With the claws, the whole shebang, and rebuilt it looking like it was whole again.
Totally.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
And the fried spinach is like little crispy, glistening kind of thing.
Fried spinach, crispy. Unbelievable. People could not get enough of it. Saturday night, we'd sell 40. 40.
Yeah.
And because lead saute had his porcini crusted halibut with truffle whipped potatoes and a roasted portobello mushroom with a freaking 80s like rosemary skewer in there.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how you remember your details to your dish pickups from 20 years ago?
Dude,
I could tell you
25 years ago.
I could tell you so many repetitions. I remember because it's just repetition. That's what
27 years ago, dude.
That's what I'm saying. You literally just went through the motions like you cooked it this morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah. Perfect medium, like not over. Yeah, it was perfect.
That's what we do.
Yeah, exactly. And get off on it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
exactly.
you're dripping.
Still,
and
we're still talking about it.
Your burns are everywhere. You're just a cook, man. Just a cook, just doing it, grinding out. We had open kitchen, so you see all 200, all 100 people, whatever. And it is packed and bars ripping. We got a giant mermaid. I mean, it was just the place to be.
So you paid your dues. You worked for,
We opened 4 of those restaurants after that. 10 Pen, Seba, Katie, and I was with that group for
You're just killing it with the group for 10 years. Basically, you culinary school 1 year. But then, so what was the moment that David Guas became the center. Looking for your next big event, concert, or culinary adventure? Check out eventsdc.com to see what they're cooking up. When did you like finally say, hey, you know what, this has been great, but I'm going to, because, you know, you could stay working for a group for a very long time
and be happy.
Very happy.
No, I had that itch. I had that itch already, yeah.
Yeah, and people do that.
Yeah,
you know?
I felt after 10 years of doing what I did, opening, 4 or 5 restaurants with the group, that, not that I thought that, anybody could do that, but I just felt like I had enough foundation that I could at least start building a business plan.
Yeah.
But see, me, I had this guilt factor. So like, I also wanted to write a book because it was right after Katrina.
Yeah.
So that's the progression. I gave notice 2 years after Katrina, but it was because I really wanted to write this book about my childhood growing up in the greatest city in the world. And I wanted to lock that in for my kids and have it documented. Yeah. Like all the places I used to go as a kid with my mom, all the Italian bakeries, all the this, all the that, Angelo Brocato's for, good, ice cream at the end of a meal, whatever, So I found a co-author, Raquel Pezel, who lives in Brooklyn. Shout out to Raquel. Amazing human. And she also had a pastry degree. She went to I don't know if it was Johnson & Wales, but did like a thing and had a...
That's not a degree, Johnson & Wales. I just playing.
So she already had pastry savvy. She was trained. So I was like, how cool is this? So I forgot how we met. Maybe through our literary agent, Angela Miller.
But you were living here when Katrina happened, right?
Yes.
Okay.
My parents were down there, but I was already in D.C.
Yeah. And not to go back too much, but like 2005. Josh Besh, Emerald.
John Besh, yeah.
John Besh, Emerald. Anything there? Like, did you run it? Did you like those guys? Did you any of those circles?
I knew them all.
You knew them all.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Before I left so Simone used to represent John.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Put him on the map.
I know that. She did put him on the map.
She
didn't take him off the map. She put him on the map.
No, he was gone before that, long before that.
He should have stayed.
Yeah, 11 plus years. So John contacted her before, when he had the idea to open his first solo restaurant called August. Yeah. And so he was working somewhere else and was like, hey, I'm finally going to open my own restaurant, found her, and then they launched. Yeah. But anyway, so yes, no John and all that. And, in New Orleans, there were, Frank Brightson. I mean, there was the old guard that, was like...
Emerald's son now.
Emerald's son now.
He's pumping some stuff out.
He is.
Have you seen that food?
Molecular,
Yeah. Is it molecular?
He's pretty...
Okay, well then...
He's kind of brought that restaurant to a different
level, right?
Yeah. And so I think I haven't been, but I almost want to say, and forgive me if I misspeak, but it's like I think they do their thing, but then they have this other thing inside.
Yes, they do a little tasting thing.
Because like Eric Repair, all those guys have come up and hung out with those guys to train him and to kind of be part of. He's reaping the benefits, obviously, of his old man's relationships, and probably has since he was.
But I like that because he's paying his dues along the way. You didn't hear about this kid forever, and all of a sudden now he's like there, and I've been like stalking him a little bit on Instagram. I was like, wow, I'm impressed. Like I'm nice to see.
I just like
son of a guy like Emerald.
Well, when you build an empire like Emerald has, and you don't have something to hand it off to, that can be scary, I'm sure too, because then it just becomes like, am I just going to sell this off when I get to be 70 plus, or like what's good? Yeah. So it's nice in that respect, even though. The son is from New Orleans, but Emerald's not.
The son is from though.
Meaning he's born there. Yeah. So he's from New Orleans. Emerald's from Boston.
But I think he's got.
He's Portuguese.
What I like about his style is I think he's thrown a little bit back to
we
the old.
We don't claim him, but he is the face of New Orleans, thanks to the Food Network. Yeah. Yes, and all his hard work.
Yeah, but he's throwing a little bit back to the old guard and the brigade system, and like some of his plate-ups look like Marco White stuff. Like it's
one of my favorite books, White Heat.
White Heat, right? Yeah. And there's cool stuff happening with his son, so I'm excited for that. But anyways,
same here.
So you DC.
Yep.
What's your first go at it?
So we write this business plan for like this bakery, right? Because that's all I've done.
You're with Simone.
Yes, because we met at DC Coast.
Of course. Okay. Yeah.
So we're married. Yeah. Fast forward, we got kids, all that stuff. Yeah. And so she was the hired PR person for DC Coast.
Yes.
We met during construction, and it was not love at first sight.
No.
I was like, who the F is this woman telling me what I have to do for our grand opening party?
Yes.
I had to make like 500 from
and little
scratch,
did you know that was going to be the rest
Chinese,
of your life.
Fortune cookies.
Oh, really?
And we were stuffing them with fucking custom messages and like shit. Dude, I was like, what is going on?
Custom messages in the Fortune.
In the Fortune. I'm like wrapping Hot Wheels over this little bar because I knew how to do it from Wah and Fong.
Yeah.
Shout out again to my girls.
Dude, Wah and Fong. You should make t-shirts.
Seriously. And so,
do you know if they're still around? Like, have you?
So fast forward, after my cookbook, my first book came out, we do a launch in New Orleans, right, at the Southern Food and Beverage Hospitality Museum. Liz Williams, thank you, Liz, does this big spread. They had just launched the museum, so it was like kind of like a fun thing to bring, native New Orleanian David Guas comes back from the nation's capital to do his book signing, a huge party. So, we make all the things out of the book. We have, it's a, cocktail reception kind of thing. And, wait, where was I going with that shit?
Cocktail reception thing, the book, Wong, well, they came back.
Thank you. So they coordinated, I needed a place to prep. And they,
we call those spice rack moments, just so you guys know. When you're at the spice rack,
you're staring at it,
and you're staring at it, but you forgot why you're at the spice rack.
Coriander or cayenne, whatever. So that was it. It was like, so I walk into the Fairmont Hotel. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm getting my two stories confused, but this is the same connection. So I go down for Tales of the Cocktail one year, and I'm doing a book signing in the lobby of the hotel, the Carousel Bar, the whole 9 yards where Tales sets up. I'm with Gina Trisavani. She's down there for her first Tales. Yeah. Shout out to Gina.
We're gonna get her on the podcast too.
I took her to Port of Call, which is to get the burger because she's like, I gotta go with you to eat the burger. So anyway, because I'm doing the little book signing, I had samples, so I had to prepare those somewhere. So they lined it up at the Fairmont, the hotel that this is the whole thing being central for Tales of the Cocktail. And if you don't know, Tales of the Cocktail, international major cocktail conference that's like 4 days long. Why on earth they chose the hottest month in the calendar in New Orleans to host it, I will never know to this day, but people are just there. I mean, they're walking around in kilts from Scotland. I mean, every seminar is going on around you. It's amazing. So I'm on a little radio show in the lobby of the hotel, yapping about my book. And but to prep, I go in the hotel's kitchen.
Yeah.
They say you can do stuff in the pastry department. I walk in, and it's fucking wah. And I was like, I lost my mind. And I don't know if I had a shirt that had my fancy name on it, or my fancy shirt with my name on it. It's not my fancy name. But she immediately starts crying.
Oh.
She didn't even have to know, like, oh, it's David. Like, none of that. It was like, boom. And we hugged, and I was like, why are you here? Like, she was at the Windsor Court for like 80 years.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh yeah, no, whatever. So took her 401k and went to the Fairmont. I don't know. So I'm seeing her and I'm like crying. So I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. So whatever.
Full circle moment. You love those. We love, those are the best moments.
Unbelievable. So so that was it. So the book came out, yada, yada, yada. So I wrote the business plan shortly after the book came out for my concept, which again, I thought I was going to just do like a pastry shop, a little dessert place. And I realized that I wasn't going to make a single dollar on that concept. So I was like, okay, let's tap back into what you know.
Yeah.
Celebrate where you're from. So make a gumbo, make some sandwiches, muffaladas. Okay, now we're talking. I love coffee. I always have. So I'm like, okay, train with counterculture, find out more about that, do the barista thing, do your certifications, milk chemistry 101 and espresso 101. I took all the classes. And, coming from New Orleans, coffee was always, and also Cuban, mind you. So café con leche when I was like 3.
Yeah.
So I was introduced to coffee early on. So all of a sudden, this little pastry concept became Bayou Bakery Coffee Bar and Eatery.
Yeah.
So it was going to be, I wanted 3 concepts in one.
Yeah.
I wanted a coffee shop, a pastry shop, and a lunch spot, an eatery.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you killed it.
We're still 16 years, man.
16 years later, enjoying it. You opened up, you have one location now still?
Bayou, we have one location. We did try one on Capitol Hill for 2 years. Didn't pan out.
Capitol Hill. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
We're going through it right now still. Yeah. But so tell me, restaurant life is restaurant life. When did you, because, you don't, I'd say if I had met you, I don't know you, I'd be like, I don't know if this guy's going to go do anything Food Network or if he's going to do anything on television. Yeah. But you did. We
ran into each other on a couple castings.
Yeah, we did.
What was that? That was for an ABC show, wasn't it? No, was it Food Network? It was like the one with, what's his name? The gray hair, not Michael.
Zakarian.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, it was like a new thing they were trying to do. It was like casual, where you sit at the kitchen counter.
They were trying to kitchen sink or something like that. Kitchen sink. Yeah.
All I know is you didn't get it, neither did I.
I didn't get it.
Teasing.
Jeff Morrow beat us.
We were outside of
He brought us a little guitar and played guitar on set.
How do you measure up
we
to
were
that?
done.
Yeah,
the Sandwich King. We were done.
Yeah. Anyway, so
and Sonny Anderson. It was a riff off of a show that already existed. Yeah. Remember, it was there was a show that already existed, and it was this.
And I got casted for a few other things.
But tell me about you did the Forbidden Feasts, right?
Forbidden Feast was that? Done.
Okay, so tell us a little bit, because that was like a passion project.
Yeah, it was. And so Cuba, fast forward during Obama's first administration, they kind of relaxed the laws of travel with Cuba, et cetera. So for the first time ever, the family kind of looks at each other and goes, "Is this our window? Like, are we going back to Cuba?" My dad hasn't been back since he was 12. It's been at this point 53 years.
Yeah,
and so we always thought it was not ever going to happen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
So of course, all our Miami cousins were like, "Don't go. Like, what are you doing?" Like, because they think that the Guas
you get trapped or something like that.
Because we were actually part of the administration prior to the revolution. Let's just put it that way. So,
the Guas family was.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're in exile right now in America,
handwritten
basically.
letters. Handwritten letters from my grandmother to her sister in Louisiana saying that Mariano Guas just was elected mayor of Havana in November of '59 and was going to take office in January, because it was a diplomatic government, so they follow the same kind of structure and schedule that we do here in the States as far as their elected presidents and any election elected officials. And so my grandfather's first cousin was the vice president.
Yeah.
So of course, all our Miami cousins were like,
first cousin. That's we
were So we were land rich, but not like we were members of the yacht club.
Yeah.
My dad had a modest home in the city, and then they had like a summer place like about an hour and a half west of Havana, Cabañas Bay, and so we decided to go back because there obviously there's no embassy for Cuba.
Yeah.
You have to go into this office here in D.C. So my dad spent time with Simone at the office one Thanksgiving, because they come up every year, and we started planning 6 months in advance. We lock into one of the top chefs in all of Havana, and so we start corresponding with him. My dad's talking to him over the telephone, emails, So we line all this up. Oh, by the way, this is Food and Wine magazine.
Yeah,
decides to bless this. Yeah.
Okay.
So Simone had been working with Dana Cohen for a million years on this.
The best.
Yes.
Yeah.
On this story, because she said, this Cuba story is yours.
It wasn't a series. It was a story. It was
a one-off feature.
A full feature.
Like 7 pages in Food and Wine. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So we went back with Orlansky, the author that wrote Salt and Cod.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So Mark Orlansky is the chosen writer for this story, and he and 2 photographers show up at the airport, and we meet him for the first time. I'm like, this is cool. And it was the 5 of us, and we were in Cuba for 6 days, our first trip. And then, establish some, information, but we weren't too nosy and asking the wrong questions. Like, keep semi under the radar. And, our flight in was fine, all that. My dad actually had to reapply and get his Cuban passport to go back to Cuba. And he had, already had, his mother had dual citizenship because she was from Louisiana. So it was a very odd thing. I'm like, wait.
No rhyme or reason.
At 53 years later, they're making you get and they're like, so I have to wait for my passport to come in the mail, and then we can start planning. So they gave him a hard time at the airport.
Yeah.
Like, who are you with the Cuban passport coming back? You haven't been, whatever.
Yeah.
So it was fine. But, they asked him some odd questions that kind of, held him up for about 6 minutes, as opposed to whatever. So we get through that, and then we've already got people waiting for us because we lined everything up. So we've got like a, 1952 Oldsmobile convertible,
really?
Rented out
cars.
front. Yeah. And we hired somebody for the whole week. So we're staying at the Hotel Nacional, which is the famous hotel in Havana. And of course, everybody was like, dude, do you have, like, what's your expectation of this trip, going back prior to leaving? I'm like, I don't have any. Like, I'm blind. I'm not going to, they planned everything. I'm just going to be the guy that shows up and be ready for whatever every day. So we're in the airport of Miami before we take the little charter flight. And, we're good, like my dad, but I know he's
feeling it a little bit.
Yeah, he's getting butterflies, he's whatever. We're always very open with each other, but we we're just cutting up and doing what you do and waiting for the gate. So we get on, blah, 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 blah. We touch down in Havana, dude. And of course, they don't have like the catwalk things. You got to go down the stairs and like walk like, 150 yards to the little airport. We go down the stairs and he drops to his knees and kisses the asphalt. I'm just like gushing. I'm like, what is happening? And you got people with like machine guns right there. I'm like, dude, just don't. Please stand up. Like, what are you doing? Like, talk about under the radar. I'm like, so anyway, you can't hide your emotions.
Kiss on the floor. No, you can't,
dude. So that was it. We got that out of the way, and I was like, all right. So we go to the hotel, check in, do whatever. 8 minutes in, we got both 2 cigars lit. We're in the convertible, being super Cuban. It was great. And that was it. We had brought our guayaberas. We bought some while we were there. We did a little research. Fast forward, the story comes out. It was amazing. Knocked it out of the park. I worked with a guy, Cristobal. The restaurant is called San Cristobal, and it's in Havana Vieja, so the older part of Havana. One of the top restaurants in every magazine. In fact, he was the dean of the culinary school. There was a school there. I mean, he was the country looked at him as being like a food ambassador. So he was one of those guys that was allowed to travel to Spain,
to go different places. Yeah,
to represent Cuba. Blah blah blah.
Did you feel like while you were doing this travel and because somehow government learns about these things, like especially if there's going to be a feature in a magazine, right? And so I remember traveling to Vietnam. I remember very much feeling like, and we were there for a mission, right, to support kids and culinary schools. I felt very followed throughout the Vietnam. Like people were just keeping up on your whereabouts and what you were doing. Same thing, right?
That's how I felt, and I think that was just my own built-in mechanism of being cautious because my old man clearly was not.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I had to be that guy who was like, let's just talk about that before we do it. Like, he was like just impulse. Like, dude, he was handing out like $20 bills to like people walking on the street, just because they were Cuban.
Yeah,
and he wanted to help them because they had nothing.
Yeah,
that's the kind of guy my dad is, and he just was like, anyway.
So they could go check out this write up online or something, right?
Oh yeah.
Go check it out.
Yeah.
And but tell me a little bit. So you went, life is good. You're opening up your restaurants in DC. You did decide to go into the Food Network world a little bit, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about. I remember it was
not the Food Network. We were on travel.
A travel
channel,
but they were owned, right, or before the acquisition.
Right. So they were based here in Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
They weren't owned by Scripps yet.
Yeah.
I forgot who owned them, but it wasn't Scripps.
Yeah.
And so, I got a phone call. How did all that go down? I got a phone call from a casting, it was put together through a friend of mine, Beth, who's from Baltimore, lives in Manhattan. She a green elf, like casting. Magical elves.
So those magical elves.
Yes, we know them. So Beth is awesome.
Yeah.
Redhead, like fiery, just like Simone, just badass. And shout out to Beth. But comes back to Baltimore every now and then. That's where she's from. But anyway, always kind of like helped me out a little bit, like thought I had something, was like, maybe they would be good for this. So I guess someone called her and, she gave them my information. I get a random phone call at Bayou Bakery one day from a local guy who lives in the metropolitan area, whatever, DMV, and is one of the head executives of travel. So they basically say, hey, this is who I am, blah, 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 blah. He's like, I'd love to come down and have lunch, and just meet you and, talk and blah, blah. Sure. So he gets like the sloppy roast beef po' boy, which we call the arm drip. And we sit in the restaurant and we just talk. And, of course, Simone is like out of her mind about like what I have to do, what I have to say. I'm like, totally. How about I just go in there and host this guy at my restaurant and just see what he has to say.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, but whatever. So I go in there and we do it. We have a great meeting. Dude, there was no casting. I didn't try out.
You just got the show.
Yeah, I mean, it was a couple weeks that went by, but then we got another call, and it was like,
no rhyme or reason, guys. No rhyme or reason out there.
They're like, we're gonna do. It was like a chop structure.
Yeah,
but it was grilling.
Yeah,
and it was called American Grilled.
Yeah,
and I was like, I can do that.
Yeah,
and so the tricky part, unlike the structure of Chopped, where we have the beloved Ted, who can get. You love him because he's the host.
Yeah.
He doesn't chop anybody.
No.
He lifts it.
He lets everybody else get you.
Exactly.
Do the chopping.
But guess what?
You're
this structure,
people.
I'm a judge and I'm the host. So as a host, you want everybody to love you. As a judge, you just want to be honest, but you're going to get hated. So it was a weird
Chef
role.
Guas is dropping some knowledge out there right now for you guys. Do not get caught between the cross host and judge position.
No,
you want to be
tough.
the loved one.
Exactly.
Okay, you don't want to be the Mark Murphy.
Either or. Like
Everybody
one or
hates
the
Mark
other.
Murphy,
Like,
not just bad.
Mark Murphy, nice.
we love Mark Murphy.
Yes, we do. Speaking of which, I cooked with him in Ukraine, in Poland. Yeah.
Oh yeah, tell
We
me
were
a
side
little,
by side for
so forget the
20
TV
days.
stuff because
whatever.
you know.
So I had a show called American Grill Travel
Yeah.
Channel, 13 episodes.
Yeah.
It was a summer long. We did a big launch at Nat Stadium. It
Yeah.
was like I got to get on the dugout and call the game.
It's fun,
play
right?
ball, all that
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, my kids were this big at the time. They the first question they had when it was finalized that this was the deal, they that morning they asked Simone if is there a limo that's going to pick us up to school? And they were like 6 and 7. I'm like, what? No, that's not how that works.
You're like, no, there's no limos.
No. So there was a new CEO after the 13 were aired, and basically travel moved to Knoxville.
Yeah.
They went to where Scripps is.
Yeah.
And all the executives jumped ship, and new CEO came in, a guy named Shannon or something, and because it was a new show, they nixed it.
Yeah.
So at least they didn't give it to somebody else.
Yeah. Well, tell me. I mean,
yeah.
you know what I love about you and always love is the versatility of what you do, right? And it's definitely like you run restaurants. You have this pastry background. You know, you've had some of the best events. The Mardi Gras event.
Oh yeah.
Right. How many you guys stopped doing it?
Well, we did. First few years, we're in front of the restaurant. We blocked the entire street with like a 300-foot-long tent. So we did the street party directly in front of Bayou for years. Then, because I was done with Arlington County and their disorganization, sorry, love you now.
Yeah.
But they couldn't get it together, and
Love-hate relationship.
every new event was like a new surprise of, oh, you don't have that permit. I'm like, what? You know, it was so stressful. Rain, snow, you name it, we were getting it. So we decided to go to Dock 5.
Yeah.
So we worked with those guys at Eden's and worked out a deal, and they allowed us to come in. We partnered with DC Central Kitchen.
That's right.
We had Mike there. We had everybody there. We had students there. It was awesome. They had their own table. They made their own Louisiana dish, and we had you guys. We had all my friends and colleagues and chefs in the city. We wanted them to be a part of it. You know, Druno was there. Everybody was there, and we just wanted to throw a great party.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Did COVID derailed or what?
COVID derailed. We did it all the way to that February. And
you should bring it back, man.
I know, man.
You should work with you know, we work with Events DC for our podcast. You should maybe
we can talk
to them.
I still have all the LLC. I still
You
have
still do?
everything.
We should talk. We should revive this with Events DC. I think they would be into it.
I guess my thing is it can't just be me anymore.
Yeah.
And your sister was on the board.
Yes, she was.
We forced her on. We had
she gets forced on a lot of boards.
Bruce Pike. Bruce Pike, who had Pike Productions.
Yeah.
We love Bruce, who's now in Sarasota. We had Bruce. We had Gina Trisavani. We had me. We had Micheline. And we had Simone.
Yeah.
That was our chair.
I think you guys get it
board.
back together. You know, I think these events that did go away during COVID are starting to come back now. I feel like the city's being a little bit more vibrant these days. What's your feeling on the temperature of the DMV? No?
That's why I'm in Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I can do it from afar. I won't open restaurants in Washington.
But an event, though.
I love events in DC, and I love the energy in Washington still very much.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of dear friends that have businesses in Washington.
Yeah.
I'm their lifeline to Bitch Fest.
Yeah,
when things are happening.
100%.
So they're like, oh, you're out in the burbs. And like, let me tell you. I'm like, all right. Anyway, in fact, I was just texting with Todd Thrasher before I came up here. So anyway, it's always something. But
it's interesting. I mean, you know, I think, you know, what happened with DC is like it just got too expensive to do some business in here. But I believe that, and my hopes is they're learning from their lessons. I think like they're open back up for business, making some changes, you know, with minimum wages, for instance, and things, and trying to be a little bit more attractive here. You know, I think that's important because a lot of us, to your point, have pushed out, right? Whether we're out in Maryland or we're Virginia,
or have no longer, you know, operate restaurants, but we're still in the industry, but we're doing stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it just depends. I mean, it's a little mixed bag. But.
Yeah, we're nearing the end, but I want to talk. You know, we are in DC Central Kitchen here, which it's an organization that you have worked with for years. I have worked with for years. Food Fight. Obviously, for those who don't know, DC Central Kitchen is they basically feed people. They take formerly incarcerated people and they put them through culinary training, and all the while they're learning these valuable life lessons about food and the industry. They're actually feeding people and delivering school meals. You, my friend, do a lot of advocacy. You have
Yes.
a lot of things. You stay busy.
Yes.
I feel like it's the nature of a chef these days. Not only do we want to run restaurants that are really hard to run, but we want to also give all our time away and contribute back to the community.
Giving our money away.
Yeah, we're giving our money away.
Now
it's not a money thing.
And if you can show up for it, that's huge, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's been my sort of focus after owning restaurants. It's like anybody can open a restaurant.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say anybody, but that's one thing. You open a restaurant, great. But are you really part of your community?
Right.
You say you are, or are you?
Yeah.
And so, walk the walk, So we got heavily involved with, at the time it was called A-Span at Bayou, which was the Arlington shelter, like 2 blocks away. Now it's called Path Forward. They had a rebranding, but we still work with those guys on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And they come get our pastries every night, when we close, and, we do TV stuff with those guys. So, you find, whether it's a church, an elementary school, or whatever, in your neighborhood, your immediate community. And that's kind of how I did that. And I formed a support system. If they call me and I can do something, I do it. I show up. If it's an auction dinner, that's what we do every year for Path Forward.
Yeah.
We do auction dinners of a group of either 6 or 8, and it usually goes for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. And we do it at Army Navy Club, and they put it on, and I'm that guy that suckers to that every year and say yes to that. So, but yeah, I mean, doing work. I mean, Katrina, I mean, you name it. I mean, we did it. I mean, pandemic, we started with an 80-quart pot out in front of the Bayou Bakery, just making red beans and rice.
Yeah.
And we had
Chef Feeding Families
Chef Feeding Families was launched then, and then we continued to do when Afghanistan, we pulled out of that. We had a lot of refugees came here.
You pulled out with Biden?
Do what?
No, just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. I was the guy feeding people. So I guess they're extended stay hotels or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Kitchenettes and things.
Yeah.
So I don't know how we did it. I think someone saw a social media post and reached out to us. But basically the general manager of 2 locations out in like Reston said that, like, we're taking in people. We've got like 60 refugees from Afghanistan already. And like, we read about your, Chefs Feeding Families. And we wanted to know more about it. So fast forward, we just added them to our list of who we were producing for. And then a week or 2 went by, and like, they didn't want to offend me, but like, they weren't down with what we were bringing.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm pretty thick-skinned these days. Now, if you got me early in my career, I'd be like, oh,
totally.
what's wrong with
Super emotional about it.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, so what do you want? I didn't put this into whatever context or whatever, or put this in when I was starting to think about who we were feeding, when we were feeding, and all this. But they had kitchens, so they wanted raw ingredients. They wanted to cook. What do you do when you're out of sorts?
Yeah.
Or like flipped upside down, or you're no longer in your home. You cook.
You cook.
You go to a stove. You start sauteing. You heat something. You eat
therapy,
something.
baby.
Therapy. So the women, they wanted to just cook.
Yeah.
So we started bringing them whole coriander and like milk, and basically they created a list for. I sent them a list, and then they like flagged it. So now we're really targeting them and giving them something that I know they're utilizing to the 100%. So I felt so much better. It was about a week or so of giving them like whatever we were giving them.
Yeah. How much does this business contribute to your sanity though in life? Because we talk about therapy and cooking. I mean, I think my wife will just walk into the kitchen sometimes and I'm just basting whatever the fuck I'm basting.
Yeah.
It could be like an apple and I'm just basting because it's the rhythm.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. She's like, what are you doing? I'm just like, I'm thinking.
I'm at the spice rack.
Yeah. You brought us some goodies. I want to just I want to showcase. Can you hand us that bag right there? Is that where the goodies are?
No, right here.
Oh, they're right there. You got them.
First and foremost.
Yeah, let's just.
This is pretty special.
Yeah, let's talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want this to not go seen or looked. I want to make people jealous out there.
You should.
Yeah.
So I'll make them jealous right now. So we have our yellow cornmeal and our white corn ground for us at Mount Vernon at the George Washington Grits Mill. We're the only one in the country that they grind for. This is a relationship I've had for about 12 years now, maybe 13. And shout out to Steve Bashore, the master miller and now master distiller of the distillery.
A master miller.
Yeah,
I like that title.
Yeah.
I like that title.
But this basically is, we call it GW cornbread. So this is our Bayou Bakery's version. They're monsters. They really bake big ones today.
I mean, this is.
I emailed them and said I need 8 cornbread, and this is what we got. So back to our intro earlier about sugar, no sugar, a touch of sugar.
Just a little bit of
Just a little bit. I mean, you can eat this bread without butter, believe it or not. It's moist, it's cake-like, but it's not overly cakey. You got chunks of corn in there. Everybody's like, smell.
First of all,
anyway.
It's just a tad sweet to your point.
Exactly.
It's just a little sugar,
The
not
sugar
too much.
complements the corn. It's not a...
I love me some butter on cornbread, so I would lather this thing with, is it cold butter or is it room temperature butter?
Oh, you're kidding me?
What is it?
Room temperature.
Ah, yes, thank you.
Cold butter would
These
destroy
French
this.
chefs. Yeah, I know. Guys,
One of my many
put your butter
pet peeves.
out.
As soon as I walk into a restaurant, if I see the butter sweating, that means it just came out of the fucking cooler.
Oh, yeah.
And they either peel the little paper off and have a coin there, and it's like, did it just get out of a shower? Like, why is it all sweaty?
Don't give me a sweaty
Boom.
butter. Don't give me sweaty butter.
Anyway,
This is absolutely delicious.
so to this day, David Guas gets in his little car and drives all the way to Mount Vernon and picks up, well, now that we have Neutral Ground, our
Just
new
like George
restaurant.
Washington.
Exactly. And I drive all the way to Mount Vernon and pick up a minimum of about 120 pounds of white corn for our grits at both restaurants. And then we pick up, anywhere from about 40 to 60 pounds of yellow cornmeal. It's about a 42-mile round trip.
Wow.
And when Society Fair was open and operated by Cahal and Todd, my guilty pleasure was I'd stop there just on the outskirts of, Old Town.
Yeah.
Society Fair, I'd get a 8-ounce, or maybe it was a pint, I don't know, of their smoked cheddar pimento, and I'd get a whole baguette. And both of those things would be gone by the time I got to the mill. Because the mill is 3 miles further down from the main estate.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
It's on the same property. So the mill...
Same property, but 30 miles down.
No. 3 miles down.
Oh, three miles.
Different property. It's a separate plot of land or property, but that's where the mill is and the distillery.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And it's unbelievable.
This is banging.
They're actually producing amazing whiskey right now, which you couldn't have said that 6-7 years ago. Steve's really done a phenomenal job with the program. It's really cool. People don't know that they're still in spirits, making spirits there.
Tell me what else you're up to, like where people could find you, the things that you're looking for to. I mean, we didn't listen. You're gonna have to come back to this podcast because we didn't talk about shooting squirrels yet.
Yeah,
we didn't talk about motorcycles,
right,
or fishing. I mean, you're an outdoors guy, right? People think you're in the kitchen all the time. Hunting since you were 10.
Fishing.
What are some of your favorite spots
for what?
For fishing? Do you do snakehead fishing here in DC?
I
or
have boatfish, which I'd love to do because that's kind of like in my wheelhouse. I just don't.
I heard they're pretty good. People say they're pretty delicious.
Oh, I've eaten them.
Oh, you
I
have?
I haven't
shot one either. Yeah.
So actually, Scott Druna and I did an event together at the Atlanta Food and Wine Festival years ago, and we were doing invasive species demonstration together.
Yeah.
So he chose snakehead from DC, brought it, and did it crudo.
Oh, really?
Super fresh. Crudo style, but when you put the picture up, of course, on the head in front of the
very ugly looking fish. Yeah.
I did the bluegill catfish.
Yeah.
So we did the local catfish that is an invasive species. So it was an invasive species sort of seminar, and so that's the snakehead story. But yeah.
Love it. Well, listen, man.
We appreciate it.
Thank you
Got some muffaladas down here too, by the way.
Do you show me the muffaladas? Bring the muffaladas out.
It's our signature sandwich at Bayou. Boom.
Oh my goodness. Look at that thing. Okay, what is can I see it?
Can you see it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna eat it.
You can see it.
Can I see it? I want to eat this. So tell me, muffalata. What?
Italians in New Orleans, baby. I mean, Central Grocery been doing it for over 100 years. Very different style sandwich, but we follow some rules. I wanted mine to be a personal size, and I wanted to flash it in the Turbo Chef and heat it, which is not the way we do it in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And we do a little bit more of a refined sort of tapenade, if you will, or olive salad, to where it's spreadable versus the big chunks of cauliflower, the big chunks of carrots that they do, the jardin. And I love it.
Yeah.
And I don't want that sandwich to change, but if I'm going to make it my same way, I'm going to do it that way.
Oh, I love get a nice peppercorn in there too.
Yeah.
From, what is it, mortadella?
Got mortadella, ham, and salami. Those are the 3 meats. You got provolone, sesame bun, which is made from a local bakery in Sterling that developed the recipe for this for us at Bayou.
Yeah.
So they don't sell this to anybody else.
Chef, tell us where people, your Instagrams, where people, the websites, charitable contributions, where people can...
All that stuff. So we got Bayou Bakery, VA.com is our website for Bayou in Arlington Courthouse, 16 years and running. We love Bayou. And then our Neutral Ground is our new baby. We're just had our year. And
my sister just said she had a lovely meal there. I have yet to come up. I'm coming.
The whole family's been numerous times. Catherine's been, Mom's been, Harvey. We got everybody.
By the way, they did not tell me that they were going there for my sister's birthday. Yeah. They didn't tell me.
So your mom sent flowers to the restaurant in advance.
Did she?
And it didn't have anything on the freaking note. So I'm like, thinking it's for me.
Yeah.
Because flowers come to my restaurant. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I did something and but then I realized it was for your sister.
Yeah, and I heard Ryan Zimmerman was Ryan Zim was at the restaurant too that day.
That night he was, and he's a regular now.
He's a regular.
Yeah,
he says he loves that place. Yeah.
We're doing a grilling series every Wednesday in, I know this is September, but
that's okay.
This summer currently, and Ryan's bringing a Six Stop next week. So yeah, he's locked in now.
So you're doing grilling season?
So we do a series on the patio that we sell separate tickets through Eventbrite. And basically it's this guy on an open flame kudo making 5 dishes.
I'm coming. And this is every week?
Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
So now we got T-Storms tonight and 95. So we're bringing everybody indoors. We sell out at 24 people. We keep it really tight.
Guys, go check out the website. You can learn more about David Guas, all his restaurants, all his charitable contribution, what he loves to do in life.
Yeah.
Such a good representation of one of the guys that started from the bottom and made it all the way up to the top. I love it.
Still wearing the same shirt, baby.
Still wearing the same shirt and representing. That is a wrap on this shift. See you back in the weeds next time. David Guas, give a big shout out. Guys.
Thanks for having me.
Delicious.
You like my muff?
I love your muff.
Thank you, baby.
There's nothing better than a Guas muff.
Amen.
A huge thank you to our title sponsor, Events DC, the official convention and sports authority for the district and a key player in making some of DC's most exciting events and experiences happen. From world-class sports to cultural festivals and everything in between, they help power the energy of the city. Check out eventsdc.com to see what they're cooking up. A shout out to our broadcast home, DC Central Kitchen, for not just feeding people, but fueling real change. If you want to support their mission or get involved, head to dccentralkitchen.org. You can catch up on past episodes or subscribe for new ones at intheweedspod.com or on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. The kitchen may be closed for now, but the conversation is still sizzling on our Instagram at intheweeds.pod. So come and join us there. That is a wrap on this shift. See you back in the weeds next time.